You might have been in this situation. Someone is introducing themselves to you and you didn't understand the name. When I was in Ireland, names were the worst for me because one, I'm not very good at remembering names in general, and two, all the names that I heard were very foreign to me. They were Gaelic names. So I couldn't, for the life of me, memorize them, let alone actually pronounce them, which means that I was stuck when I needed to address someone or talk about someone. So in this video, I'm showing you many names that you are likely to hear in France, how to write them and how to pronounce them. For each letter of the alphabet, when possible, you will have one feminine name, one masculine name and one mixed gay name that can be given to a boy or a girl. C'est parti. So, for a feminine name starting in A, you have Anne. Anne. Mixed name could be Alex. Alex. Alex could be short for Alexandre. Alexandre, which is the masculine version of Alex, and Alexandra. Alexandra. That's the feminine version. Then you have a masculine name, Alain. 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 That's my grandpa's name. For the letter B, feminine name you have Béatrice. Béatrice. Mixed gay name could be Benedict. Benedict. And the pronunciation is the same for the feminine version, Benedict, but we add an E for the feminine version. A masculine name starting in B, Bertrand. Bertrand. For the letter C, a feminine name starting with C is Caroline. Caroline. A mixed name starting with C, Camille. Camille. Even though it's more given to girls than boys, you can find boys who are named Camille. Masculine name, Christian. 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 And another version of that name could be Christophe. Christophe. Letter D, feminine name, Diane. Diane. A mixed name starting with D could be Daniel. Daniel. And here again the pronunciation is the same for the feminine version with the two L's and an E, but we spell it differently. Daniel. Masculine name starting with D, David. David. Letter E, a feminine name, Eloise. Eloise. A mixed name, Émile. Émile. Émile is the masculine and Émilie. Émilie is the feminine. Émile is actually my brother's name. In the masculine, you have Émilien. Émilien, which is another name derived from Émile. For the letter F, you have Faustine. 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 A mixed name is François. François. François is the masculine version of Françoise. Françoise. A masculine name starting with F could be Félix. Félix. With the letter G, feminine, Garance. 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 Good. Mixed name is Gabrielle. Gabrielle. Feminine version has the same pronunciation, but here again we add an other L and an E at the end as well for Gabrielle. Then we have a masculine name starting with G, Gabin. 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 Name starting with H, you have a feminine name, Hélène. Hélène. It's a very popular name. A mixed name starting with H is actually here has two different pronunciations. So Hugues, Hugues, that's the masculine, and Huguette, Huguette, that's the feminine. And an entirely masculine name could be Hervé, Hervé. So remember, in French, the H is actually not pronounced. Names starting with I, we have Isabelle, Isabelle, Isabelle. We can sometimes be shortened by Isa, Isa. And in the masculine, we have Isaac, Isaac, Isaac. Feminine name starting with J, Julie, Julie. A mixed one, Jackie, Jackie. And a masculine one, Jacques, Jacques. Name starting with K, Karine, Karine, Karine. And a masculine name that is popular in France is Kevin, Kevin. Name starting with L, Laure, Laure. Good. Mixed name, we have here two different pronunciations. We have Louison, Louison, which is mostly masculine, but some girls are called Louison as well. But another version of that name is Louise, Louise, and this version is entirely feminine. The masculine version would be Louis, Louis, without the E at the end. A masculine name, Laurent, Laurent, Laurent. Then names starting with M. We have, in a feminine, Marie, Marie. That's my name. A few other names, feminine names starting with M, which are very popular, are Marine, Marine, and Marion, Marion. A mixed name starting with M, Maxime, Maxime. It's usually given to boys, but girls can be called Maxime as well. And in the masculine, Martin, Martin. Name starting with N, feminine name, Noémie, Noémie, Noémie. A mixed name would be those two versions, Nicolas, Nicolas, that's for boys only, and Nicole, Nicole, for girls. A masculine name, Nathan, Nathan, Nathan. The H is not pronounced, Nathan. Letter O, we have Ophélie, Ophélie. PH is the sound F, F. So Ophélie. And in the masculine, Oscar is a popular name in France. Oscar. Name starting with P, Pauline, Pauline. A mixed name, Pascal, Pascal, which is pronounced the same way for the feminine version, Pascal. And that's my dad's name. Then we have Patrick, Patrick. Then we have names starting with Q. There aren't a lot of them, but I found one for the masculine, so Quentin, Quentin, Quentin. Name starting with R, feminine, Rose, Rose. That's the name of flower. We have a mixed name, René, René. That's a name that is usually given, well, people who bear these names are usually older, but the feminine version is pronounced the same way. René. René. Then the masculine name starting with R is Raphaël. 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 Good. The name starting with S, we have Sarah. Sarah. A mixed name starting with S, Sacha. Sacha, which is sometimes spelled with a S, Sacha. In the masculine, you have Sylvain. Sylvain. Same thing here again with the name starting with T. There aren't a lot of them, but there is one that is very popular for boys and men, and it is Théo. 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 Which could be a short version for a full name like Théodore. Théodore. Then we have the letter U with the masculine word name Hugo. Hugo, although it's generally spelled with an H, it can be spelled like this, Hugo. There aren't a lot of popular names in France starting with U, but there are a lot of them starting with V. For example, Violette. Violette, which is the name of a flower. Violette. A mixed name starting with V could be Valérie. Valérie. And for the feminine version, it would be spelled with an I and an E rather than a Y at the end. One of our presidents is actually called Valérie. Then we have the masculine name starting with V with Victor. Victor. My second brother is called Victor. Then we have a letter that is definitely not French, but in France you will sometimes find a few William. 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 Although probably more in the north of France than in the south, and probably the family will have ties with England. Then we have the letter X with the mixed name Xavier. Listen, Xavier. Xavier. And not a common, the feminine version is really not common, although I had a grandmother who was called like this, Xavier. 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 Then we have the letter Y, again here not a very French letter, but they are names that you will find in France that start with the letter Y, like Yasmine. Yasmine. Or the mixed name Yves. Yves, which becomes Yvette. Yvette in the feminine. The masculine, Yanis. Yanis. And finally, for the letter Z, we have the feminine Zoé. Zoé. And the masculine, Zachary. Zachary. Which is not as popular as Zoé. Now, if you like this video, you should check out my playlist on French pronunciation. It has other videos where you can train your French pronunciation. Or if you want to get audio material that you can listen to everywhere, check out the description of this video.